to move beyond the black and white and see the nuances, because every job is different, every situation is different. I often think that when you look at buildings from the outside, it's like, oh, it looks like it's all organized and different teams are coming in. But when you're on the ground, it's managed chaos. There's always things going on. There's always things that you just need your eyeballs on. You need to be looking up, not down at a photocopier.
This series of episodes was recorded live at Digital Construction Week 2025 at the Excel in London. I got the privilege of interviewing some amazing people that are shaping the future of the built environment through the technology that organizations are developing and delivering now and for the future. Although this podcast was worth the entry fee alone, let's admit it, now is the time to register your interest for next year's Digital Construction Week 2026. But if, like me, you can't wait until next year, check out Digital Construction North on the 19th of November. The links to both events, as always, are in the show notes. But just before we go live with this week's episode, here's a brief intro to the topic we cover and today's guest. The construction site is one of the most dynamic, high-stakes environments in the modern economy. Yet, it's also one of the least digitally connected. As the industry grapples with increasing pressure around safety, compliance, and labour shortages, the gap between digital intent and on-the-ground reality remains stubbornly wide. For technology to genuinely improve how people work on site, it needs to do more than just monitor or automate. It must support real communication, foster trust, and make safety and efficiency part of the culture, not just paperwork. From workforce empowerment to ethical accountability, this is a chance to look at construction technology not just as systems of data, but as systems of people, with someone who is building systems for people. Simon Elliott is the CEO of One Breadcrumb, a construction technology company helping contractors digitize and streamline safety and compliance on site. Established across Australia and the UK, and is now expanding into North America, empowers frontline workers through its intuitive technology. Simon himself brings over 20 years of experience in digital transformation, with roles across the health, government, and construction technology sectors. He has founded companies, led M&A transactions, overseen international expansions, and guided businesses through venture funding and strategic growth. And today, Simon leads the business through its next phase of global scale, while staying grounded in a mission to make safety and compliance simple, embedded, and worker-friendly. Simon Elliott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here. Digital Construction Week live. I think the best place to start is asking you what you do and why you're exhibiting at Digital Construction Week.
Sure. So we're One Breadcrumb. We focus on safety compliance on work sites. We're here at Digital Construction Week because we're really focused on digitalization from the ground up.
Okay.
From the worker first perspective. And what better place to come to tell that message than Digital Construction Week in London?
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've seen and heard and talking to some of your colleagues, starting in Australia, transitioned to the UK about 2 years ago, and it's your first time at Digital Construction Week.
First time exhibiting. Actually, 3 years ago, we came to the UK early on in, I guess, the growth of One Breadcrumb.
Yeah.
We really saw that what we're trying to solve here was a global problem, and we wanted to build something of consequence. So actually, DCW was the first place we came to work out whether they had product market fit here in the UK. We met some amazing people here, some amazing construction companies. So it's kind of special to us.
Ah, fantastic. And it's 10th year anniversary. So great time to start exhibiting. Right, let's get into this. I got my little clipboard here with a few questions on.
Great.
And we'll dive into it. So your tech is made to be used, and that sounds silly, but it's not just fit and forget. It doesn't just tick along in the background. It's there. It needs to be utilized. Is there a skill in designing that kind of technology that workers actually want to use, especially on site where there's more manual activities or the manual activities dominate that work site?
Absolutely. So from day one, we were worker first. When you think about a worker first kind of mentality, it's about the experience that they go through when they have to engage with safety processes and compliance processes. Quite often, if you take a top-down approach, you kind of forget the experience that people have when they come to a site and they have to engage with these processes. Often they feel that it's what's between them and actually doing the work that they're there to perform. And so from the very beginning, we want to engage and want to make the system easy for them to use. So big buttons, just the intuitive nature of it all. But not only that, the taking away some of the frustrations around having to repeat themselves time and time again. So when a user moves between head contractors, when a user even moves between projects with the same head contractor, the frustration of having to repeat the same information time and time again really means that they become disengaged, they check out, and that's not what we want from safety processes, right? Safety processes have been thought about to ensure that people work efficiently and they work safely. And so the only way to achieve that is to engage the end user and to bring benefit to them.
I take it there was a lot of user testing and getting them involved and building it that way.
Absolutely. And I can remember many times. So we've got this one of our values is to be go-getters, to put our boots on and get our hands dirty.
Nice.
And that's been one of our values from the very beginning. And I can tell you many times of going to site, sitting down next to a user and witnessing the frustration when, for instance, they can't remember the Apple password. And they just want to get through the process so they can start their work for the day. And so we from the very beginning we're thinking about, well, how can we make sure that everyone's on the journey, that everyone's following the breadcrumbs, as it were.
Nice.
And thanks. And to do that, how can they engage with the platform? So not just with their own device, but using a kiosk. If not the kiosk, then what about sort of a host check-in where the site manager or others on site can guide users through it? Because workers have varying degrees of tech sort of experience. Amazing professional people, but we can't expect everyone to just natively understand how to use a device necessarily, or even sometimes language problems as well. So we need to go to where the user is. And as I said, like from the very beginning, side by side on the work site, feeling their frustration, and then going back to the office, going back with the team and saying, well, how can we remove that roadblock for their engagement?
I love that, because it's so easy to sit in an office, to sit with developers and feel you're getting a good workflow and making it simple, but you don't really know until you're on a site.
100%.
Yeah. You need that end user or that user engagement to really, really build tech. And that's why I love what you do, because it is the boots up once.
100%. And let's not forget that when the users, site workers are engaging with this process as well, it's 6:30 in the morning, it's dark, it's rainy, it's cold. There's understandably not a lot of patience. So we need to think about not only, so when you talk about being in an office and nice warm environment and big screen, and it's 11 o'clock, just had your coffee. Completely different scenario when you're on site.
For sure. And even avid users of like iPhones or whatever, you don't get that long to engage somebody and keep that attention. I can't remember the stats. It's been a long time since I looked at them, but I remember years ago, it was about 3 seconds you had. And if a website isn't loading in 3 seconds, they're gone. They're done.
Right.
And it's probably shorter now, know.
I think it might be shorter these days.
If you can get shorter, I don't know. By the time you press the button, it's probably about 3 seconds.
That's right.
There you go. Okay, let's move the conversation on a little bit. talking about your clients and the organizations you actually work with and help, how does an organization make that shift from viewing like safety as more of a checklist to embedding it in their organization culture using technology?
Well, for us, again, you probably hear me say this a lot.
Yeah.
But it's about engaging everyone on the journey.
Right. Okay.
So everyone on site should be engaged in safety and compliance. And we do that through people's personal mobile device. Of course, there's other ways in which we can do that as well. But by involving everyone, by empowering them with the access to those processes on their own phone, to the data that they share, means that you can move beyond just a checklist that sits in a site office somewhere.
Okay.
And you can have that information at the place where, for instance, dangerous activity is happening. And you can ensure that everyone on site can participate in a way that's meaningful for them. So I think that's how you really kind of move beyond kind of like a checklist mentality. You get everyone involved and you ensure that they each add their component to a workflow. And it's not just left up to one person who, off-site perhaps or in a site office, just ticking boxes. Because that doesn't hurt. That doesn't help anyone.
Absolutely. And so it really is technology for the whole organization and getting them involved in it. And I suppose once you've got them involved in it, then they understand how simple it can be and more likely to utilize the technology. But sticking to that point, safety is still inherently human-based because that's the thing that's going to go right or going to go wrong. It's going to be with humans at some point because that's what we're there to keep safe. There's a fine balance between automation and data-driven decisions.
Yes.
And that empathy in particular situations, and it always will be the safety. So how do you make sure that everything isn't seen in black and white and just data-driven, but yet still maintain that compliance?
Yeah, 100%. So, often when we talk about digitalizing safety, some people have the wrong impression that we're automating things.
Yeah, okay.
That somehow we are removing the humans from the process. The truth is, that's not what it's about.
Right.
What it's about is ensuring that we document and we take people on journeys. It means that a site manager or a health and safety manager isn't sitting at a photocopier or a scanner, just moving documents and scanning them and then getting on the computer and dropping it in different folders.
Yeah.
That's not what their job is. Their job is to engage.
Okay.
Their job is to communicate and to really eyeball people on site, to move beyond the black and white and see the nuances, because every job is different. Every situation is different. I often think that when you look at buildings from the outside, it's like, oh, it looks like it's all organized and different teams are coming in. But when you're on the ground, it's managed chaos. There's always things going on. There's always things that you just need your eyeballs on. You need to be looking up, not down at a photocopier. And that's what's important about digitalizing the process. I actually think that by digitizing processes, you not only make them more efficient, but you make them better. So, for example, one of our consultants that we worked with in the early days coined this phrase. He said he was trying to work out, like, how does he incorporate our digital process into the way in which he delivers safety. And he came to me one day and he said, "I've got it, Simon. You provide the dance floor and I teach people how to dance." And for me, that just completely sort of blew my mind. I said, that's exactly how we want to work. We're there to support the professionals in the industry and on site. They can take this valuable information, these processes that haven't been just drawn up because someone wants to tick a box. People actually thought about, like, how do I go about tackling this dangerous, potentially dangerous, piece of work? So hot works or just like excavations or a whole bunch of things that can go wrong, right? And someone's thinking about, well, what are the risks? How do I mitigate those risks? How do I then put that into a process so that people really understand the risk before they undertake the activities? Now you can take all that valuable thinking and you can have it where that risk is occurring, where that dangerous situation potentially happens. And why? Because it's in your hand. It's in a digital device. It's not, again, sitting in a site office somewhere in a little folder doing no one any good. So that's why I'm actually quite excited about it, because not only making a system more efficient, actually making it better.
Yeah. I love the kind of dance floor analogy because it brings that human element to it. It means, like you said at the very start, it's very human first. And I think that the good tech, the tech that works, it isn't people using it because it's there. It's the tech helping them do something better.
100%.
And it's not an easy thing to do because we can get very easily drawn into using technology because it's there.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been in a position where if you're in any working environment that uses technology or a computer, you've probably got about 10 different types of tech. Really, you probably need 2. But because they're there, you're trying to implement them and it never works. It never works very well. If you've got that much tech, it just doesn't.
I think there's a delicate balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay. So sticking with the human element, technology such as safety and particularly data tracking where humans are involved, site access tools and things like that, it creates a culture of accountability, which is absolutely bang right. But it can create that level of suspicion, kind of Big Brother is watching, if handled poorly. So how do we negate this and see it as it's about accountability and keeping people safe rather than we're watching you to make sure you do nothing wrong?
That is definitely a concern of some users. So we early on we made sure that we had a response around, are you tracking me kind of response. The truth is, and something I'm quite passionate about, is that we need to know when you're on site, but not where you are on site, not what you're doing. These are professionals they're there to do a job.
Yeah.
And we as tech providers need to ensure that we're not treating people like robots. I don't think we really. I think there's a valid reason to know if someone's on site because you have a responsibility for people who are on site.
Yeah.
But whether in the lunchroom or whether in the bathroom or whether on the 3rd floor or the 4th floor, I think there's a level of trust you have to have for everyone on site. And we don't treat people as robots. So there's no tracking as an individual.
Yeah.
Just tracking if you're on site or if you're off site.
Okay. That's super cool. And if you think about that, there's nothing worse than feeling like it's done for checklist purposes. And then it's almost like you're at school and there's a register and
that's right.
Where such and such and where they've gone and sit down and be quiet and learn.
That's right.
And like you said, they are experts. And if you don't see them as experts, it shouldn't really be in your supply chain anyway.
That's right.
Really.
Yeah.
You need better contractors and subcontractors if that's the case.
And if we think about the supply chain, if we think about how skilled workers, like into the future, it's going to get harder and harder to find the people with the skills.
Yeah.
It's going to find it harder and harder to find people, I think, that want to get up at 6:30 in the morning, they want to apply their trade. And you can't create an environment where they feel like they are not treated in a professional manner. I think increasingly we're gonna be looking for more people to join construction, more skilled workers, and we've got to treat them with the respect that they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So, Simon, final question. I'm asking everybody this.
Sure.
We're looking to the future. 10th year anniversary of Digital Construction Week. Where are we going to be technology-wise in 10 years' time?
In the construction space.
Yeah, in the construction. Yeah. Not as humans. Whether we're going to exist as humans, I don't know in 10 years' time, but in construction, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say something now that's been said frequently, right?
Yeah.
And that is agriculture, construction, always been seen as a laggard.
Yeah.
Now, I'm passionate about the fact that I think that's because we haven't engaged the individual worker.
Okay.
That we haven't brought them on the journey.
Yeah.
How can you digitally transform the work site, if you're not engaging every single person on the work site? So where I'd like to see technology go over the next 10 years, yes, there's tools we can put into the mix. There's AI, tools that help make things easier, more intuitive, little co-pilots, AI agents. There's an amazing amount of tools that are available to us. The number one thing we should be doing is engaging the individual and ensuring that everyone's brought on the journey. And I think we're going to see more of that happen over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to see us in 10 years' time is every worker be treated as a professional, every worker having access and contributing to a digital workflow, a digital platform to keep sites safer, more efficient, and ultimately better quality, I think, too, in the birds that we have.
And we've come full circle there. Focus on the human first.
Yeah.
Not the tech.
100%.
Tech can help the human.
That's it.
Fantastic.
You got it.
But Simon, thank you so much for joining me today. Super cool technology. One breadcrumb. It is really, really, really good what you're doing.
Thank you.
Really good tech. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much. Talk soon.
Pleasure.